Your husband is still delivering packages? The laughter around the anniversary table came immediately. Come on, Emily, Victoria said, lifting her champagne. You're the youngest principal this district has ever appointed. Surely by now you could have upgraded. Emily smiled automatically. 1 second, maybe 2. Then she looked beside her. Nathan wasn't smiling. He sat quietly in the only suit he owned, one hand resting beneath the table, his expression carefully empty. Emily's smile disappeared. Victoria, relax. I'm joking. Emily placed her glass down. Then stop. The table went silent. Victoria blinked. Excuse me? Emily turned slightly toward Nathan. That man delivered packages at 5 every morning so I could finish graduate school without taking a second job. Nathan looked at her. When my mother got sick, he changed routes so he could drive her to chemotherapy. Someone across the table lowered his eyes. Victoria's smile weakened. Emily continued. He packed my lunch when we had $27 left until payday. He sat outside every interview I almost walked away from. She faced Victoria again. So if delivering packages makes him beneath you, then maybe your opinion isn't worth very much. Victoria's smile disappeared completely. For several seconds, nobody at the table moved. Then she leaned back in her chair. Well, she said softly, that was dramatic. Emily held her gaze. No. What was dramatic was humiliating my husband in front of 30 people because you thought everyone here would laugh with you. Victoria glanced around the table. Several people suddenly became very interested in their plates. Nathan touched Emily's wrist beneath the table. Em. She turned toward him. His expression was calm, almost too calm. It's okay. No, it isn't. Victoria gave a small laugh. Nathan seems capable of speaking for himself. He is. Emily looked back at her. And I'm capable of speaking when someone disrespects the person sitting beside me. Victoria's eyes hardened. For 7 years she had been superintendent of Fairmont Unified School District, and everyone in the room understood what that meant. She controlled committee appointments, recommendations, budgets, and, more importantly for Emily, the district's newly created Director of Academic Innovation position, a position Emily had spent the last 18 months preparing for. Victoria folded her napkin neatly beside her plate. You know, she said, tomorrow morning the board begins reviewing candidates for the innovation position. Emily felt Nathan's hand tighten around hers. Victoria continued, You're currently the strongest candidate. Emily said nothing. Currently. There it was. Not a threat exactly. Victoria was too experienced for anything that obvious. But everyone heard it. Nathan turned toward Emily. She looked at him. Years of late-night coursework, weekend leadership seminars, school improvement plans, hundreds of hours spent proving she could do more than run one building, everything Victoria controlled. Nathan's eyes asked one question. Are you sure? Emily answered without words. Then she turned back toward Victoria. If getting that position requires me to sit quietly while you call my husband a loser, remove my application. The table went completely silent. Victoria blinked. Nathan stared at Emily. No. She looked at him. I mean it. Victoria laughed once. You'd throw away the biggest opportunity of your career because your husband can't handle a joke? Emily stood. No. She picked up her clutch. I'd throw away an opportunity controlled by someone who thinks respect is optional when the person sitting across from her has no title she finds impressive. Nathan slowly stood beside her. Victoria's expression went cold. You may regret saying that. Emily nodded. Maybe. Then she looked at Nathan. But I know what I would regret more. They left. Neither of them noticed Victoria watching Nathan carefully as he walked out. Not with amusement anymore. With curiosity. Because 6 hours earlier, Victoria Hale had received an email that had unsettled her far more than she had allowed anyone to see. The district's largest supply contractor, Crestline Educational Services, had been purchased. Crestline handled more than $40 million a year in food distribution, classroom materials, maintenance supplies, and transportation support across Fairmont Unified. The acquiring company was called Harbor Root Group, privately held, almost no public-facing executives, very little press. But one fact had already reached Victoria's legal department. Harbor Root's controlling founder was named Nathan Carter. Nathan Carter, the same name as Emily Carter's husband. Victoria had dismissed it as coincidence. The man sitting beside Emily wore a suit that fit well but not expensively. He still drove a delivery route 3 mornings a week. He had paint beneath one thumbnail from repairing their kitchen cabinets the weekend before. Nothing about him suggested the founder of a regional logistics company worth hundreds of millions, so Victoria had laughed, and joked, and called him a loser. Nathan had said almost nothing. That was the part that bothered her now. Inside their car, Emily didn't start the engine. Nathan sat beside her. The parking garage around them was nearly empty. Finally he said, "You shouldn't have withdrawn." "I didn't withdraw. You basically dared Victoria to remove you. She was insulting you." "I've been insulted before." Emily turned toward him. "That doesn't make it acceptable." Nathan looked through the windshield. "You worked hard for that job." So I don't want to be the reason you lose it." "You aren't." "Emily." She reached across the console and took his hand. "Listen to me." He did. I laughed. Nathan's expression changed. "You noticed." "Of course I noticed." "It was nothing." "No." Emily shook her head. "It wasn't nothing." He looked away. "For 1 second I wanted to belong at that table more than I wanted to protect you from it. That's not what happened." "Yes, it is." Nathan said nothing. Emily's eyes filled. "You were sitting beside me while someone made you the joke, and I joined them, for about half a second. That half second mattered." Nathan finally looked at her. "It hurt." Emily nodded. "I know. But then you stopped." "Too late." "No." He squeezed her hand. "Late would have been going home and apologizing privately because you were too afraid to say anything there." Emily's expression softened. Nathan continued. "You stood up when you still believed Victoria could decide your future." Emily frowned slightly at the wording. "Still believed?" Nathan froze. A beat. Then he smiled. Figure of speech. Emily studied him. There had been something strange about Nathan all evening. Not nervousness, not embarrassment. Calm, especially when Victoria threatened her. Too calm. "Nathan." "Yes? Is there something you're not telling me?" His phone rang. He glanced at the screen. Maya Chen, Harbor Root Legal. He immediately silenced it. Emily noticed. "Who is Maya?" "Work. At 11:48? Distribution doesn't sleep. You deliver packages." Nathan gave her a look. "That is deeply offensive to the complex science of modern logistics." Despite herself, Emily laughed. He smiled. For the moment, the question disappeared. But only for the moment. 12 years earlier, Emily had met Nathan while both of them were broke enough to know exactly how many days remained before every paycheck. She was 26, substitute teaching and studying for her master's degree. Nathan drove mornings for a regional courier service, worked warehouse nights, and spent his weekends repairing old motorcycles for cash. Their first apartment had one functioning radiator. Their second had plumbing that complained louder than either of them. When Emily was accepted into graduate school, she had almost declined. They were already behind on rent. Nathan found her sitting on their mattress with the acceptance letter folded beside her. "We can't afford this," she said. Nathan read the tuition number, then read it again. "No." Emily laughed bitterly. "Wonderful. I didn't say you aren't going." "Nathan, I said we can't afford it." That usually leads to the same conclusion. He sat beside her. "No. It means we find a different road. You already work 60 hours. Then I find work that pays better. You're exhausted. I'll survive." "Nathan." He took her hand. You've wanted to lead a school since the day I met you. I wanted a lot of things before bills became real. He smiled. Bills don't get to decide who you become. Nathan added another delivery route. Emily went to graduate school. 2 years later, when she got her first assistant principal position, she found a note inside her lunch. Walk into the room like they already know you belong there. She kept it, even now, inside the small zip compartment of her work bag. What Emily didn't know was that the second delivery route had introduced Nathan to a problem. Small businesses were being charged enormous fees by regional distributors, while drivers themselves were barely surviving. Nathan began building software at night. Not sophisticated software. At first, little more than a routing spreadsheet, then a dispatch system, then a cooperative network connecting independent drivers directly with businesses. One driver became 14, 14 became 60, then warehouses, institutional contracts, hospitals, universities, municipalities. Harbor Route Group grew quietly, because Nathan preferred it that way. He hired a CEO who loved interviews. He hired executives who enjoyed conferences. Nathan kept one route. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning, he drove. Not because he needed the money, because those routes reminded him what the company existed to do. Emily knew Harbor Route. Everyone in their region did. She just knew Nathan as one of its operations consultants, who sometimes drove when routes were short-staffed. That wasn't technically a lie. It also wasn't the truth. Nathan had kept telling himself he would explain everything when the right moment came. The right moment had somehow become 8 years, and now his wife had nearly sacrificed her career to defend a man she believed made $58,000 a year. Nathan stared out the passenger window. For the first time, the secrecy didn't feel protective, it felt cowardly. Sunday morning, Emily woke to find Nathan in the kitchen, speaking quietly on the phone. No changes until Monday. He saw her and stopped. Emily poured coffee. Changes to what? Nathan ended the call. You're up early. Don't do that. Do what? Answer a question with weather. I didn't mention weather. Nathan. He sighed. It's complicated. So explain. I will. When? Tomorrow. Emily stared at him. Why tomorrow? Because after tomorrow, there won't be any way to tell the story halfway. Her eyebrows drew together. What does that mean? He stepped closer. Trust me until tomorrow. Emily laughed. You have absolutely chosen the wrong weekend to ask me for blind trust. That landed. Nathan looked down. You're right. So tell me. He opened his mouth. Then his phone buzzed. An email flashed briefly across the lock screen. Crestline acquisition, final board transition. Emily saw only 3 words. Crestline, acquisition, board. Nathan turned the phone over. Her expression changed. What are you involved in? He was silent. Nathan, I need 24 hours. Why? Because there are lawyers involved, and until something is formally announced, I can't. Are you in trouble? No. Are we in trouble? No. Then what? He looked at her. Tomorrow. Emily stepped away. Fine. She hated that word the moment it left her mouth. Because fine was what people said when they weren't. Monday morning, Fairmont Unified felt different. Emily could tell before she entered the building. 2 assistant superintendents stood whispering near the elevator. The finance director hurried past without greeting her. Her secretary was waiting beside her office. Dr. Carter, what happened? Emergency district board meeting at 9. Emily stopped. Why? They asked all principals whose schools participate in the Crestline contract to attend. Her stomach tightened. Nathan's phone. Crestline acquisition. What happened to Crestline? Her secretary lowered her voice. They were bought. By who? Harbor Route Group. Emily froze. She knew that name. Then her secretary said, apparently the founder is coming. Emily looked toward the elevator. Something cold moved through her. Her phone buzzed. Nathan, don't panic. Emily stared at the message, then typed, "That is the least reassuring text you've ever sent me." 3 dots. Fair, she called him. No answer. Nathan Carter, she whispered. Then she opened a search engine. Harbor Route founder. Almost nothing. A few old business filings. One early article. A grainy photograph from 8 years earlier. Emily enlarged it. The face was younger, thinner, but unmistakable. Her husband, oh my God. The boardroom was packed. Victoria stood near the head of the table speaking sharply with district counsel. Emily entered. Victoria noticed her. Something flickered behind her eyes. "So," Victoria said. "Interesting morning." Emily sat. "I suppose," Victoria smiled. "Has your husband explained anything yet?" Emily stared at her. Victoria's smile widened, so she knew. Before Emily could answer, the board chair called the meeting to order. "Yesterday evening, we received formal notification that Crestline Educational Services has been acquired by Harbor Route Group." Several principals murmured. The chair continued. "Because Crestline currently manages approximately $43 million in district contracts, Harbor Route requested immediate review of several procurement and vendor compliance matters." Victoria interrupted. "Requested?" "Yes. Since when does a vendor summon district leadership?" The chair looked uncomfortable. "They are not merely a vendor anymore." The doors opened. Nathan walked in. Emily stopped breathing. Not because of the suit. Nathan owned suits. Not because 3 attorneys entered behind him. Because of how they moved around him. Not ahead of him. Not directing him. With him at the center. Nathan saw Emily. His expression softened. She stared at him. He mouthed, "I'm sorry." Victoria stood. "Mr. Carter." Nathan looked toward her. "Dr. Hale." Her face hardened. The board chair cleared his throat. "For those who haven't been formally introduced, Nathan Carter is the founder and controlling shareholder of Harbor Route Group." Silence. Emily felt every eye in the room turn toward her. She didn't care. Her eyes remained on Nathan. Founder. Controlling shareholder. Nathan walked toward the table. Victoria gave a short laugh. "This is absurd." Nobody joined her. Nathan took a seat several chairs away from Emily. She continued staring. "How long?" she whispered. He heard. 8 years. Her face fell. 8 years. Victoria saw it, and instantly understood that the marriage itself had just become a weapon. "Well," she said, "this certainly creates an interesting ethical problem." Nathan looked toward her. Victoria continued. "The principal leading one of the district's highest-performing schools is secretly married to the man whose company just purchased our largest contractor." Emily finally looked away from Nathan. "Secretly? Don't play with words. You've met my husband 4 times. I meant his financial interest," Nathan said calmly. Emily had no knowledge of the acquisition. Victoria smiled. "Convenient." Emily's anger rose. Nathan spoke before she could. Every stage of the transaction was reviewed by outside counsel. "This isn't about your transaction." Victoria opened a folder. "This is about hers." Emily frowned. Victoria pushed several procurement approvals across the table. Emily recognized her signature. "What are these?" "Purchase approvals from Jefferson Academy." "My school." "Yes." Victoria turned toward the board. "Over 18 months, Jefferson approved more than $900,000 in emergency supply purchases through Crestline." Emily looked at the pages. "That was during the renovation." "Correct. You authorized emergency procurement waivers." "I authorized them based on requests submitted by your office." Emily stared. "No." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "My office submitted the requests." "Yes. But those numbers." She picked up another page. "They're wrong." Victoria smiled. "Your signature says otherwise." Nathan went completely still. Emily looked at him, then back at the documents. I signed purchase requests. Exactly. Not at these amounts. Then perhaps you should have read more carefully. Emily's face went pale. Victoria leaned back. For someone who gave such an inspiring speech about integrity Friday night, this is unfortunate. Nathan spoke. Enough. Emily turned toward him. No. He looked at her. She shook her head. Don't protect me. Emily. If my signature is there, investigate it. Victoria's smile faded slightly. Emily faced the board. Immediately. The board chair hesitated. Dr. Carter, I mean it. Nathan watched her. Emily continued. If I approved something improperly, I should face the same review as anyone else. Victoria opened her mouth. Emily turned toward her. And because these waivers originated under the superintendent's emergency authority, I assume Dr. Hale will submit to the same independent review. Silence. Victoria's expression changed. Nathan nearly smiled. The board chair said carefully, that would be appropriate. Victoria stared at Emily. You're comparing my oversight role to your signatures? No. Emily looked down at the documents. I'm saying nobody should be exempt. Then her eyes moved toward Nathan. Nobody. He understood. Their marriage conversation would come later. The investigation came first. After the meeting, Emily walked into an empty conference room. Nathan followed. She closed the door, then turned. You founded Harbor Route. Yes. 8 years. Yes. You let me think you were an operations consultant. I am involved in operations. Nathan. I know. You drive delivery routes. Yes. Why? Because I like them. She stared at him. That might be the most insane answer available. Probably. How much is Harbor Route worth? Emily. How much? He hesitated. Last valuation was around $480 million. Emily sat down. Nathan stayed where he was. She laughed once. Not because anything was funny. We argued about replacing the dishwasher last year. It was repairable. It leaked through the kitchen floor. It needed one valve. You own $500 million and made me wait 3 weeks for a valve. That's not helping. No, Nathan. It is helping me understand the level of madness involved. He almost smiled, then saw her face. The smile disappeared. Emily looked at him. Why didn't you tell me? His answer came quietly. Because when Harbor Route started growing, everything around me changed. She said nothing. People who never returned calls suddenly wanted dinner. Family members I barely knew started sending business plans. Old friends became uncomfortable. So you thought I would? No. But you treated me like I would. Nathan closed his eyes briefly. I told myself I was protecting what we had. Emily looked away. You don't get to protect a marriage with a lie. I know. Do you? Yes. Because Friday I stood in that room prepared to lose my career defending you. Nathan's face tightened. I know. And you already knew Victoria's district depended on a company you were acquiring. Yes. You knew she might not be able to destroy my career. I didn't know exactly what authority she would still have after the review. That isn't the point. I know. Emily's voice softened. I wanted my choice to matter. Nathan looked at her. It did. How? Because you made it before you knew anything about Harbor Route. Her eyes filled. That doesn't erase this. No. I am angry. You should be. I may be angry for a while. I understand. She looked at him. And stop agreeing with everything. I don't know what else to do. Despite herself, she laughed. Only for a second. Nathan stepped closer but didn't touch her. There is something else. Emily closed her eyes. Of course there is. Harbor Route didn't buy Crestline because we wanted its district contracts. Why then? Because Crestline has been losing money for almost 2 years. Emily frowned. How? Overbilling, fake emergency orders, vendors connected through shell companies. Her expression changed. Nathan continued. My team found your school's name during due diligence. The documents Victoria showed us? Yes. She knew? I don't know. Emily stared at him. But you suspect she did. Nathan nodded. That is why I needed the acquisition closed before saying anything. And now we can access the original transaction servers. Emily looked toward the folder in her hand. What if those signatures are really mine? They probably are. She looked up sharply. Nathan continued. But I don't think the pages are. 4 days later, Harbor Root's forensic team proved it. Emily's digital signatures were genuine. The purchase orders were not. Original files showed approved requests for ordinary amounts. 38,000 became 93,000. 21 became 67. Invoices were replaced after signatures had already been recorded. Emergency waiver pages were attached afterward. And every altered transaction led back to 3 companies. All 3 companies shared an address. A small law office owned by Victoria Hale's brother. Emily stared at the screen. Nathan stood beside her. Neither spoke. Maya Chen, Harbor Root's attorney, slid another file forward. There is more. Emily opened it. An email. Victoria to Crestline's former CFO. If state auditors question emergency procurement, school-level approvals provide sufficient insulation. Carter's signature is present throughout. Emily read it twice. Nathan's jaw tightened. She was going to blame you. Emily's voice was distant. How long? Nearly a year. Nathan answered. Maybe longer. Emily stood. I want to see her. Nathan looked at her. Interesting. What? 4 days ago you told me not to protect you. I'm not asking for protection. No. He handed her another document. I'm reminding you what you told me. Emily looked down. Evidence. Not anger. She exhaled slowly. You're enjoying this. A little. She glared. Nathan smiled. Then his expression softened. Let the evidence speak. Emily stared at Victoria's email again. For years she had believed Victoria's criticism made her sharper, more disciplined, ready for leadership. She had mistaken manipulation for mentorship. That realization hurt differently from the threatened promotion. Nathan seemed to understand. You wanted her approval. Emily looked at him. How did you know? Because I spent years wanting other people to think driving a truck meant I had failed. He paused. Then one day I realized I liked driving the truck. Emily laughed softly. And secretly owning the company probably helped. A little. She shook her head, then looked at the evidence. Let's finish it. The final board meeting took place the following Tuesday. Victoria arrived with 2 attorneys. Emily arrived alone. Nathan sat with Harbor Root's legal team but remained silent. The board chair opened the meeting. Maya presented first. Server metadata, original purchase orders, altered invoices, shell company registrations, payments, then the email. Victoria's attorney objected repeatedly. The documents kept coming. Finally, Victoria spoke. You're allowing a vendor to manufacture a narrative because its owner is married to one of our principals. Emily looked at Nathan. He didn't move. Good. She wanted this part herself. Emily stood. Then remove Nathan from the story. Victoria stared at her. What? Pretend Harbor Root belongs to someone I've never met. Emily placed the original purchase request beside the altered version. That's my signature. She pointed to the second document. That isn't the amount I approved. Another. My signature. Then another. Not my invoice. Victoria's jaw tightened. Emily continued. You taught me that leaders are responsible for everything carrying their name. Victoria said nothing. So I accepted the investigation. She looked toward the board. And now I'm asking you to apply the same standard to her. Victoria laughed. You think because your husband has money you've suddenly become brave. Emily went still. Nathan's expression hardened, but Emily smiled. No. Her voice became quieter. I became brave Friday night. The room fell silent. When you called my husband a loser. Victoria looked away. I didn't know who he was then. Emily nodded. Exactly. Victoria looked back. That is the entire point. Emily walked closer to the table. You thought he couldn't help your career. Nathan watched her. You thought he couldn't hurt it. Several board members shifted. You thought he had no title worth respecting. Emily looked directly at Victoria. So you believed humiliating him was safe. Victoria said nothing. And when you thought I needed your promotion more than I needed my self-respect, you expected me to laugh. Emily paused. I did. Nathan looked at her. For 1 second. Her voice broke slightly. And I will regret that second longer than I regret anything you could ever remove from my resume. Victoria folded her arms. This is sentimental nonsense. No. Emily pointed toward the documents. This is financial evidence. Then toward Nathan. That is my husband. Then toward herself. And this is me finally understanding the difference between leadership and power. Nobody moved. Emily finished quietly. Nathan did not become worthy of respect the morning you discovered he founded Harbor Root. Nathan's eyes filled. He was worthy of respect when you thought he delivered boxes for a living. Silence. He was worthy when we had $27 until payday. Nathan lowered his head. He was worthy when he worked nights, so I could finish graduate school. Emily looked toward Victoria. And if you can't understand someone's value until you discover their bank account, then you were never qualified to teach anyone in this district what leadership looks like. The board voted 40 minutes later. Victoria Hale was placed on immediate suspension pending state and criminal investigation. Her resignation arrived 3 days afterward. The district offered Emily the interim innovation director position. She declined. The board chair stared at her. You were the leading candidate before this. I know. You've been cleared completely. I know. Then why? Emily glanced toward Nathan. He sat in the back of the room. No shortcuts. The chair smiled. Your husband said exactly the same thing. Emily rolled her eyes. That is becoming irritating. The district opened a national search. 4 months later, Emily applied. She interviewed twice, presented a 90-day improvement strategy, sat through a panel of teachers, parents, and administrators who owed her nothing. Then she got the call. The job was hers. She came home to find Nathan making pasta. You knew. No, you definitely knew. I swear. Did you call anyone? No. Email anyone? No. Buy the district? Nathan turned. Emily. She laughed. He crossed the kitchen and hugged her. This one is yours. Emily held him tightly, then whispered, It always was. He kissed her forehead. She pulled back. I'm still angry about Harbor Root. I know. And the dishwasher. That valve cost $14. You have $400 million. Approximately. She stared. Nathan smiled. Emily threw a dish towel at him. Later that night, Nathan opened an old box from the bedroom closet. He returned carrying a folded piece of paper. Emily recognized it immediately. No. Yes. You kept that. You kept mine. He handed it to her. It was from 12 years earlier, written in Emily's handwriting, after Nathan had come home exhausted from another delivery shift. One day you'll build something people can't ignore. Until then, come home safe. Emily stared at the words. I forgot this. I didn't. Nathan sat beside her. For years, I thought success meant proving everyone who looked down on me was wrong. Emily rested her head against his shoulder. And? He looked around their ordinary kitchen. The scratched table. The cabinets he had repaired himself. The dishwasher that now worked perfectly, and that Nathan mentioned far too often. Turns out the people who mattered never needed proof. Emily smiled. You should still have told me. I know. 8 years. I know. $480 million. He hesitated. Closer to 520 after Crestline. Emily slowly lifted her head. Nathan immediately stood. I'm going to check the dishwasher. Nathan Carter. He ran. Emily chased him into the kitchen laughing, and that was the part they remembered years later. Not Victoria's face when the board suspended her, not newspaper articles about the procurement scandal, not Harbor Root's acquisition, not Emily's eventual district promotion. The thing they remembered was Friday night, a table full of accomplished people, a cheap joke, a room full of laughter. Emily laughing too, then looking beside her, seeing the man who had carried boxes before sunrise so she could become the woman sitting at that table, and stopping, because respect that arrives only after discovering someone's money isn't respect. Loyalty that depends on status isn't loyalty. And character isn't revealed when everyone already knows who has power. It's revealed in the seconds before that. When the room is laughing, when your career is on the line, when nobody knows the person beside you owns anything important, and you have to decide whether you're going to keep laughing or stand.